Good afternoon. I'm Horace McMillan, pastor of Open Door Mennonite Church.
And I'm Dorothy Triplett, and from St. Andrew's Episcopal Cathedral, and my friend Pastor McMillan and I will brief you on what will be happening in this really exciting Refounding Convention and citywide assembly of Working Together Jackson.
We gather today in the midst of a political crisis in the city. On Tuesday, a special judge with this ruling forced a compromise that led to the ending of the 18-day stoppage of garbage collection in Jackson.
Judge David Clark, acting in Chancery Court, said that this case should never have been brought before him. He called the garbage crisis a failure of leadership by all parties.
Judge Clark also said that politics is the willingness to compromise. And today at this refounding, Working Together Jackson will commit to a process of leadership development in our institutions, in a process of voter education, voter registration, and door-to-door get out the vote work, in order to demand that our leaders move away from this toxic brew of partisanship and division and divisiveness that we see in the city.
We will be presenting a beginning vision put together by Working Together Jackson members for rebuilding and renewing Jackson. We're joined today by leaders from sister organizations in Baltimore, Maryland, Brooklyn, New York, Rome, Georgia, and the emerging new effort of Working Together Mississippi.
Today we also welcome council members Brian Gazelle and also Aaron Banks. We celebrate their work in solving the immediate crisis of garbage collection.
So now let's welcome our special guests and our co-chairs, Bishop Blake Hill and Ms. Julianne Tharp.
I now call this meeting to order. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Julianne Tharp with Fondren Presbyterian Church, and I'm honored to co-chair this event with Bishop Blake Hill. I do have a few housekeeping requests for you today. You should have noticed 2 sheets of paper on your seat when you came in. Can you please make sure you sign in on that second sheet and include your ward for your home address if you happen to know. If not, just feel free to put your zip code. Also, restrooms are through this right exit and on the right side of the expo hall. And lastly, for everyone speaking today, including myself and Bishop Hill, we do have a very tight agenda, so if you could just please keep your eye on our great timekeeper. Please raise your hand, Asia. Just please keep note of your time. And I will pass it on to my co-chair.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. If you try that one more time, good afternoon, everyone. That sounds better. My name is Blake Hill. I'm the presiding bishop of the South Central Diocese of the Church of Christ Holiness USA. And I want to invite to do our opening prayer to open us up today, Reverend Major Treadway from Northminster Baptist Church, who will come and do our invocation.
Good afternoon. Please join your hearts with mine in prayer. Holy and eternal God, creator of the universe and all that is within it, thank you, Lord, for this great gathering, for the institution of Working Together Jackson, and for the people in this room, people committed to collaborate strategically across the divides which have historically been too wide to cross. Today we are gathered in this space people of racial, religious, and economic diversity, and a shared hope of a better future for the city of Jackson. A hope that each of us knows can only be made manifest by the collective efforts of all of us to follow the wisdom of the great teachers, preachers, prophets, and civic leaders who have gone before us. To accomplish all that we hope for this city, help us, O God, to see no stranger. Help us to practice unending compassion. Help us to open our tent to all. Help us to love our neighbors as ourselves. Help us to take in the orphan. Help us, O God, to love without limit. Lord, as we go about this work that is rooted in hope, this afternoon we ask you to fill this space with compassionate curiosity, holy creativity, and a belief in the power of community. Stir in our hearts and in our minds as we consider the opportunities in this, the city of soul. Let us not be satisfied with the status quo, but inspire us to strive towards a thriving and beloved community. This prayer, this gathering, these hopes, these dreams, we lift to you, O God. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend Treadway. Now, to help us understand where we have come from and where we're headed, let me welcome Bishop Ronnie Crudup, Dr. Lorenzo Neal, and Mrs. Rhoda Yoder to the stage.
Well, good afternoon to everybody. Hey, aren't you excited to be here? Well, make some noise. Listen, over 13 years ago, a small group of leaders gathered in this very building to begin to envision the building of a broad-based citizen organization in Jackson, Mississippi. That night, we looked at the data that showed that there had been over 30 years of disinvestment in Jackson, Mississippi, that had led to the flight of white and middle-class black families from Jackson. That disinvestment still continues unabated. In 1980, I want you to hear these statistics. In 1980, Jackson's population was 202,895 people. It was the 71st most populous city in the United States. In 2021, Jackson had a population of 149,761 people. That is 26.2 decrease in population. In 40 years, Jackson has dropped from the 71st city in population ranking to the 177th city in this country. This is the largest population loss of any similar sized city in the country since 1980. We, though, have built Working Together Jackson as a vehicle to address this decline in our capital city.
This group of leaders that dared to envision a city, a new Jackson, that was no longer faced with legal segregation, but now civic segregation. We found that people did not want to work with other folk. We found a city where we only talked to and worked with those who looked like us, believed like us, lived near us. Over the last 13 years, from the sponsoring committee that began here in this very building in the classroom to the founding assembly in 2012, we have built Working Together Jackson to what Bishop Crudup calls the most diverse space in the city of Jackson. We deliberately crossed all the divisions in the city. We have built an organization that by its very existence and composition has led to the decrease of civic segregation. We are black, we are white, we are Christian, we are Muslim, we are Jewish. We are from all parts of the city, from Fondren, Eastover, Georgetown. We are West Jackson. We are bringing together institutions who have historically never worked together. We have created a space of equality, trust, and relationship where leaders from diverse institutions can work together and backgrounds can work together to achieve a vision for a stronger and better Jackson.
Absolutely right. And since our founding in June of 2012, this diverse coalition of institutions has broken down many of those barriers of civic segregation. We have accomplished a lot together. Let me remind you, just go back in time to the beginning of a few of the great things we did really early on. First thing we looked at was blighted housing. I'm sure you know what that means. When it comes to Jackson housing, probably 2/3 of it is estimated to be blighted, abandoned, or in very bad shape and not taken care of. Living among blight takes a huge toll on our community. 3 of our churches, True Vine Baptist, Rosemont Baptist, and St. Mark's Episcopal, led the way in cleaning up dilapidated properties and helping renew those long-forgotten neighborhoods. The most famous of those was the area near St. Mark's, where the Jackson State University Foundation owned over 60 abandoned properties and was leaving them basically untended. WTJ brought attention to this dangerous situation. Aided by the work of State Senator John Horn and Revitalize Mississippi, we got action. In 2 weeks, these properties were razed and a dangerous situation was remedied. Good job, thank you. Secondly, we helped to pass the 1 cent sales tax for infrastructure. Not longer after his election, the late Mayor Chokwe Lumumba announced he was going to call an election to increase our sales tax by 1 cent for rebuilding infrastructure. WTJ studied the situation and believed this might be a premature call, and where was the campaign that would exist to make it possible? Since we couldn't find an organized campaign, we began to build one. We paid for a poll so that we could see where people stood on this. The poll showed that unless voters were told which items were exempt from the sales tax increase, the proposal was in trouble. But if the right messaging was put out, people would get behind it, and it could pass. So WTJ worked with the mayor, and the tax proposal was approved by an unheard of 90%. Another round of applause, thank you.
And Ms. Holder, I'd like to add something quickly to that. Working together, Jackson has partnered with Hines Community College to take a workforce program that was designed to help students while they were earning their GED get involved in a trade program. Working together, Jackson worked with them and took a program that was enrolling only 8 people, and it enrolled over 500 people, giving them a living wage and ensuring a steady workforce for the city of Jackson. Not only that, but we also partnered with the Jackson Public Schools. When the state of Mississippi threatened to take over Jackson Public Schools, we partnered with the Kellogg Foundation and other civic organizations, the People's Advocacy Institute, and a number of other local organizations. We worked together. Kellogg, I did mention that, thank you, Bishop. Kellogg and the Mississippi Association of Educators. We partnered with them to aid in developing a plan that led to JPS moving from a failing school district to now a school district that is on the verge of becoming a B school district. Very successful. Woo! WJ, we've also worked to secure a vote of 86% to renew a school bond program. During the pandemic, we worked with the school district along with the crisis line to establish a Jackson Scholars Warm Line to aid students and parents in confronting mental health and other issues they may face during the pandemic.
Listen, I don't know about you, but I'm proud of the accomplishments of working together, Jackson. Do you like what you heard in that as well? Hey, if you already a member of Working Together, Jackson, give yourself a hand. You deserve it. Good work has been done, has been accomplished. However, we're not a group that rests on the laurels, okay? We know that this city is facing continuously serious problems as we work with the federal third-party administrator to face the challenges of rebuilding our water and sewer infrastructure. We have recently faced the most anti-Jackson legislative session in the history. And we were able, with the work of many elected officials, and a number of them are here, elected officials, wave your hand, that helped us along the way in the midst of this, and other groups, to beat back some of the most hideous and to gut some of these proposals. However, our job in relationship to the state and its anti-Jackson bias is not over. For the last year and a half, Working Together Jackson has embarked on a campaign to move the city towards a strategy that helps build a black business class committed to employing local people in living wage jobs. In fact, hey, that's a real need. In fact, on December the 7th of 2021, our present mayor, the current city council president, Ashley Foote, council members Angelique Lee, Brian Gazelle, also with council members Vernon Hartley and Aaron Banks, also in attendance, committed to over 300 leaders that were there who were gathered at the first Working Together Jackson Economic Accountability Summit to address the disparities in awarding contracts to black-owned companies in Jackson, Mississippi. Listen, 2 weeks later, then the council rejected the winner of a blind bid process that would have saved the citizens of Jackson 32% over the other two bidders. Richards Disposal, a black-owned solid waste disposal company with 50 years of experience in cities larger than Jackson, was the winner of this blind process. The council, who had committed to work with us towards contract justice, continuously voted against any contract with Richards. At no time could they give an adequate reason for their votes. Over the last year, Richards Disposal, a black-owned company, has hired over 80 Jacksonians and is paying them a living wage that was higher than waste disposal. The council's failure to approve a 6-year contract that would save the city and residents money, or even more expensive emergency contracts, ended in court on Monday. The special judge, Judge H. David Clark, said this action should not be before me now. This lawsuit is a result of a failure of leadership by all parties. Politics requires the capacity to compromise. Ultimately, this dispute may need to be settled at the ballot box. To quote Judge Clark, we have seen a failure of leadership, and I would go farther to say that we have seen a failure of vision and also imagination.
Bishop Crudup, I agree with you. I also believe that we in this room have to take some of that responsibility. We have been unable actually to move even one vote of the opposition to this contract, and the answer to that is here in this room today. Because what we do today as we explore a new vision, a new imagination, we have to have the capacity to implement that. And so what does it take to implement a vision? Power of money, and power of organized people. And we're here today to say that we can make that happen. There are far more people out there in our neighborhoods that we know that we can connect with and create a web across this city. It's not just about the garbage contract, it's about everything else that we've worked on together and that we will continue to work on as we go forward. In a few minutes, remember, it's about organized people and organized money. In a few minutes, we're going to hear some of the pledges that have been made. And we invite you, if you aren't up here in this line over here, to join us in making an organized pledge. And then we'll have ways that we can be organized people. There'll be things you can sign up to do so that we can create an even stronger Working Together Jackson. So today, Bishop Hill and Ms. Tharp, we pledge that we are committed to helping build a new Jackson that can face the struggles ahead. We pledge not to wait on public leaders who aren't leading. We instead will lead and build the get out the vote capacity, our neighborhood networks, to encourage elected officials to work to build a better Jackson.
Thank you, Bishop Crudup, Reverend Neal, and Mrs. Yoder. Thank you very much. A quick note before we move on to the roll call. If you are wondering what to do with your sign-in sheet once you filled it out, just keep it under your chair. You can just leave it there on the floor, and we will collect them after the convention. Thank you. Oh, if you need a pen, just raise your hand and we will get one to you. All right, so now it is time to welcome the most important people here today, and that is you, the members of Working Together Jackson. Thank you so much for being here today. We want to welcome all our member institutions that are showing by our delegations and their pledges of institutional dues that they are building power to renew this city. All the member institutions that are making a dues pledge today may now come to the microphone here up front. Please state your institution, your pledge for this year, and why you are involved in Working Together Jackson. And please try to keep it under 30 seconds. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Good evening, everyone. My name is Joanne Mickens. I'm the Executive Director of Parents for Public Schools. And our pledge is $3,000. And the reason why Parents for Public Schools is a part of Working Together Jackson, if we're going to have a strong city, then we all need to work together. And I also know and believe that strong schools make for a strong city.
Right. My name is Blake Hill. I represent the Church of Christ Holiness USA and 7 of our churches that are in here in the city of Jackson. Those churches are Greater Mount Bethel Church of Christ Holiness USA, New Lake Church of Christ Holiness USA, Christ Temple Tougaloo Church of Christ Holiness USA, Christ Temple Jackson Church of Christ Holiness USA, Cynthia Church, Greater Works Church of Christ Holiness USA, and Mount Zion Church of Christ Holiness USA. And we pledge $1,000 for each one of those for a total of $7,000 for the Working Together. Yeah. We are here because this city was the city where our denomination was founded, and we owe it back to Jackson to save the place that birthed us. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I am Pearl Wicks. I'm the Chief Operating Officer for HOPE. That's Hope Credit Union, Hope Enterprise Corporation, and Hope Policy Institute. Our pledge tonight is $6,000, and we are part of Working Together Jackson because we know that in partnership we can go a long way, but separately we can't do a lot. So our headquarters, our corporate offices is located in Jackson. We operate in 5 states across the Deep South, but serving and working together, Jackson helps us to fulfill our mission of strengthening communities, building assets, and improving lives by offering affordable financial products and services to strengthen our communities. Thank you.
With God's name, the merciful benefactor, the merciful redeemer, I greet you in the greetings of peace. Assalamu alaikum. I am Okola Rashid, the Executive Director and co-founder of the International Museum of Muslim Cultures. The International Museum of Muslim Cultures is also the lead organization for the City of Jackson Beloved Community that was unanimously supported by the City Council with the mayor's lead. We pledge $1,000. And the reason why we've supported Working Together Jackson from the very onset is because they are doing similar work that we're doing, right? And that is going beyond race, all of these divides, religion, economic, as well as other divides. And we feel like these are the partners that we need to do the work that we must do in Jackson. Thank you.
My name is Amin Abdul Rashid. I'm the Imam of Masjid Muhammad, dedicated, faithful workers and committed people of Masjid Muhammad. We're going to pledge 100. I got the wrong number. I think I did. I wish I could dedicate 100. Pledge 100. No, we're going to pledge $1,500 to this campaign. Even though the 100 sounded much better, you know. But the reason we're a part of Working Together Jackson, it states in the Quran in the 103rd chapter, it says, by the time through the ages, surely man, surely humanity, meaning all of us, are at loss, except those who have faith in the divine, have faith who work in mutual consultation, work together with those who are faithful and who do righteous deeds. Thank you.
Open Door Mennonite Church pledges $1,000 because clean drinking water, good public schools, access to health care, and living wage employment are justice issues.
I'm Pastor Jimmy Lee Edwards, pastor of Rose Mountain Missionary Baptist Church, 3930 Officer Thomas Kitchen Senior Drive. And listen, I'm happy to be a part of Working Together Jackson because better together, amen, we're better together, and it works. And not only that, but we pledge $1,500. And I brought a check for $500. So that's make $2,000 we're gonna pledge. We're gonna up our pledge, $500.
I'm Sarah Dabney Gillespie, and I and a whole row of folks from Fondren Presbyterian Church are back there. We are pledging $2,400, and because we believe in the future of Jackson.
Good evening. My name is Angela Taylor Gray, and I'm here to represent Catholic Charities Incorporated. I'm the program coordinator for the Supportive Services Veteran Families Program, and I also coordinate the Disaster Response Program. We're pledging $5,000 this evening. We're a part of Working Together Jackson because it's so important to remember there's no I in team. Teamwork makes the dream work. That's my favorite logo. So I feel like we're just a big ball of people in the community who want to bring our community back together and where it needs to be. And so we want to be a part of that.
Good afternoon. I'm Pastor Greg Divinity. I pastor New Vineyard Church at 4207 Rainey Road. I'm also the senior administrator of New Vineyard Academy as well as New Vineyard CDC. I'm excited to be a part of working together Jackson. The reason I'm excited to be a part and the reason I support is because I live in Jackson. I serve in Jackson. My grandbabies go to school in Jackson, and I want to see Jackson be a greater Jackson. So we are pledging $3,000.
I'm Father Elvin Sons, representing St. Richard's Church here in Jackson, and we are pledging $1,200. And we're making our pledge because we know by working together, we can make a better Jackson. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I am Dr. Lorenzo Neal, pastor of the New Bethel African Methodist Episcopal Church, along with the Mississippi Conference and the 8th Episcopal District of the African Methodist Episcopal Church. As pastor of New Bethel, we are in a community that is that's representing so much of the issues and blight of Jackson, and we are working to make that change. And we're happy to be a part of Working Together Jackson, and we pledge $1,000.
My name is Lynn Andressi, and I am part of Bridges, and we pledge $1,000 to help continue the good work of this organization for Jackson.
My name is Joel Ekogwam, and I'm a pastor of Fountain of Life Church in Byron. Not in Jackson, in Byron. In Byron, Mississippi. But majority of our congregation are Jacksonians. So whatever decisions are made in Jackson affects my membership. So we chose to pledge last year, and this year we are pledging $1,500 for what. And why am I a part of this organization? Because for once, I see interfaith organizations coming together to do one thing in common. Thank you.
My name is Bruce Case, pastor at St. Luke's United Methodist Church in Fondren. Been there since 1909, and we pledged $1,500 because we believe the best days are ahead for this awesome city.
My name is Hugh Hollowell. I'm actually with Working Together Mississippi, but our friends at Faith and Women could not be here today, but asked us to let you know that they are pledging $1,000.
Hello, everyone. My name is Minister Sharon Moman. I'm here on behalf of New Horizon Church International. Make some noise. I'm here on behalf of our great bishop to say that we are pledging $8,000. We believe in the good work that has been done, the work that is being done, and the work that will be done.
Thank you. All right, we are rounding up the grand total right now. Let's see if we can do some quick math. If I heard that right, that's $47,100. Yes, yes, yes. And that is all thanks to you. Thank you so much. We would not be here without, honestly, we wouldn't be here without every single one of us. So thank you all for standing up here today and renewing your dedication to Working Together Jackson. Before you go, have we missed any institutional pledges? All right, thank you so much. Y'all may return to your seats. Yeah. All right, so now we're going to recognize the member institutions that are not pledging quite yet, but they are member institutions, and we want to give them a big round of applause at the end. So those are Christ Tabernacle Church, the Mississippi Museum of Art, True Vine MB Church, Fountain of Life Church, Midtown Partners, Stewpot Community Services, People's Advocacy Institute, and the Jackson Medical Mall Foundation. Let's recognize them as well. All right, so now we're going to move on to the guest institutions from Jackson, many of which are discerning about membership. So let's give them a really big, hearty round of applause, too. So these institutions are All Saints Episcopal Church, Beth Israel Congregation, Lynch Street CME, Northminster Baptist Church, St. Andrew's Cathedral, Wells United Methodist Church, St. Mark's Episcopal Church, Greater Harvest Baptist Church, Caney Creek Baptist, Philadelphia Ministries, New Vision Worship Center, St. Peter's Cathedral, Christ the King Catholic Church, Holy Ghost Catholic Church, Holy Family Catholic Church, Bonner Institutional AME, Greater Allen Temple AME, New Hope AME, Pearl Street AME, China Grove AME, St. Paul AME, Millsaps College, Tougaloo College, Hines Community College, Operation Shoestring, Springboard to Opportunities, Galloway United Methodist, St. Christopher's Episcopal Church, Voice of Calvary Ministries, The Bell, Emmanuel Missionary Baptist Church, and Southern Poverty Law Center. Let's all recognize them as well. So before we move on, did we miss any institutions that are located here in Jackson? All right. So we also have with us today representatives from our emerging statewide effort, Working Together Mississippi. So after we call their names, let's welcome them. These are St. Francis Catholic Madison, Safe Harbor UCC Clinton, Northminster Baptist Clinton, St. Mark's UMC Brandon, Morning Star Missionary Baptist Church Biloxi, Recover, Rebuild, Restore Southeast Mississippi Disaster Recovery in Hattiesburg, St. Paul UMC Hattiesburg, Climb CDC Biloxi, Shady Grove Missionary Baptist Church Hattiesburg, Marl Grove Byram, New Christian Port Gibson, Triumphant Baptist Church Vicksburg, New Christian Church Port Gibson, and Triumphant Baptist Church Vicksburg. So did we miss any congregations or institutions from other places in the state? All right. Okay, so now it's time to welcome our partner, Neighborhood Economics, our guest from our sister organizations, East Brooklyn Congregations, Build in Baltimore, and One Community United in Rome, Georgia. Could you please stand to be recognized? Thank you. You may be seated. So Working Together Jackson and Working Together Mississippi has an important ally that has helped us as we have built Working Together Jackson and as we begin to build this new sister effort around the state, Working Together Mississippi. This ally is the Mississippi and New Orleans team of the W.K. Kellogg Foundation. We have with us today the director of that team, Dr. Rio Williams Bishop. Dr. Williams Bishop, can you please stand? Thank you for partnering with us. Together, we are accomplishing important things in Jackson and in Mississippi. So, as has been said, we got involved in the garbage contract dispute, not supporting the mayor, any council members, or Richard's disposal. We support contract justice. We asked the mayor and council to work with us to move toward, where legally possible, targeting Black-owned businesses for city contracts with an emphasis on companies that hire locally and pay a living wage. Council members Angelique Lee and Brian Grizel have stood for contract justice through thick and thin over the last year. We want to thank you. And if you would like, you can please stand and come up, and you would each have a minute to respond.
Good afternoon. I'm not much of a public speaker, but here goes. Contracts, better yet, oftentimes we talk about minority vendors versus non-minority vendors, and also opportunities, especially with Jackson being such a diverse city. But we also know that a lot of our minority contractors won't have an opportunity without being given that extra push, that opportunity to build their capacity so that they can be able to compete later on down the line. And so as a public servant, I ran on 5 things. And while focusing on contracts is not one of those things, but I do understand that we have to support our own, and we have to support those who also support Jackson, because that's the only way we can build Jackson together. And so I thank you for your support. I will continue the work, and thank you. That's it.
Thank you. Councilman Banks, during the last year, we have disagreed on this issue, and we understand we still disagree about a long-term solution to this problem. However, this past Tuesday, you compromised and you cast the deciding vote to end the garbage contract. Councilman, we thank you. If you would like to come up, you may take 1 minute to respond.
Praise the Lord, everybody. Praise the Lord. Listen, first of all, thank you all for doing this. Thank you, Bishop. We were on the phone maybe about a year ago. At that time, I was president of the Mississippi Black Caucus of local elected officials, and you talked about having a working together Mississippi, and I think this is awesome. I think it is good to hear different voices, but I think this is also good because more so now than ever, people are understanding not only the process, but then taking a deeper look into things that are necessary so that we can all make the right decisions. I want to take the time and invite you. We are going to have on July the 14th a national town hall. For those that don't know, I am the president of the National Black Caucus of Local Elected Officials. Our platform is See Black, S-E-E Black. That's safety, education, and economics for Black. And just real quick, when we talk about safety, we are doing a federal push for there to be direct appropriations from the federal and the Department of Justice directly to municipalities. Some of you may know that there's already a fight against ARPA to stop the rest of that funding from continuing toward our infrastructure. And so we wrote a playbook for reimagining public safety for our Black communities. When we talk about education, we talk about accessibility and affordability when it comes to our K through 12 and our institutional higher learners, but then also platforms of civic engagement to where people that are on the bottom, regardless of where you are, get the information necessary to understand how your government works. Because one of the things that becomes a problem is when we get to it. Then when we talk about economics, we are talking about building a Black business class, but building a local Black business class. I appreciate you. Look forward to more conversation, and we will work together. God bless you.
Thank you, Councilman Banks. So Richards Disposal, 80 Jacksonians work for Richards, and they are paid a living wage. For the last year, they've done a great job serving our city, and we are glad they are on the job again. If we have any representatives from Richards Disposal, please stand, and we want to recognize you. Otherwise, we know they're out there doing their job. So thank you, Richards Disposal. So now I'd like to invite Miss Joanne Mickens of Parents for Public Schools to recognize Jackson Public Schools.
Well, hello again. Today we have with us Dr. William Merritt, the Chief of Staff of the Jackson Public School District. Dr. Merritt, Working Together Jackson, has enjoyed working with you, Dr. Green, and the school board. We want to recognize your work in moving JPS from a failing school district to one with a score of C. We congratulate you on this accomplishment. However, we hope to be here next year congratulating you on reaching a B. Dr. Merritt, will you please stand? Thank you. Congratulations to JPS.
Thank you, Ms. Mickens. Father Elvin Sons, please come forward to celebrate a major victory we just achieved for moms and babies supported by Medicaid.
Thank you. Healthcare access has been a major issue of Working Together Jackson for 3 years. Joining in this effort is Working Together Mississippi, our emerging statewide organization. We in Working Together Jackson and Working Together Mississippi don't always agree on every issue. For example, on the issue of abortion, there are differences among us. I'm proud to say that in this legislative session, we put our differences aside, as we often do, and together encouraged Governor Reeves to have a change of heart and to support postpartum care for mothers on Medicaid. Previously, he was against it. Our Catholic bishops put out a letter on behalf of Working Together Mississippi on a Friday afternoon. By Sunday, the governor changed his mind and now supports expanding postpartum care. On Monday, we gathered together on the steps of the St. Peter Cathedral and asked the Speaker of the House to allow the House to vote on expanding postpartum care. He declared that he would not block the passage as he had done in the past year. We continue to be vigilant until the House, by an overwhelming bipartisan vote, passed this important extension from 2 months coverage to 12 months coverage. Congratulations. Working together, we made it happen. All of us made it happen. So let us celebrate this important victory. And let us not stop there. Let us work now to provide Medicaid for Mississippi's working poor, as is done in nearly every other state in the nation. Our hardworking Mississippi workers deserve to have health care just like everyone else in the country. Amen. Amen.
I am excited about this next part, of course. It's our keynote address. When I became bishop of the South Central Diocese of the Church of Christ Holiness USA over a year and a half ago, I felt called to lead my denomination into proclaiming the gospel in the public life of our community. I looked around for vehicles of public proclamation of faith in everyday decision makers making of our communities. And I knew that Working Together Jackson and I had begun to hear about an emerging work of the statewide sister effort, Working Together Mississippi. I quickly learned that WTJ and WTM were affiliated with the oldest organizing training institute, the Industrial Areas Foundation. And I learned that there were other organizations like WTJ all over the country and in other countries. I began to hear about my brother, Reverend David K. Brawley of St. Paul's Community Baptist Church in Brooklyn, New York, and our sister organization, the East Brooklyn Congregations. I also learned that Reverend Brawley had reached out to us during the Jackson water crisis and asked if he and EBC could be helpful in gaining resources to help reinvest in our crumbling infrastructure through their relationship to Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer. He did, and the senator delivered the first $20 million for Jackson and committed to do more, and he has. Listen to this. To date, we have received over $800 million to address this crisis. Yes, give yourselves a hand. On November 13th, I met Reverend Brawley, Chuck Schumer, and the new House Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries, and 1,200 EBC leaders in Brooklyn, New York. And on behalf of the WTJ, I thank them for their support of us and our work. And over our 2 days of stay in Brooklyn, I saw how EBC has changed the city for the better. So I am honored and humbled this afternoon to introduce my friend and a friend of Jackson in the person of Reverend David K. Brawley. If y'all would welcome him to the stage, Lord.
Good afternoon. It is a joy to be with you. Thank you so much, Bishop Hill and Bishop Crudup. Thank you for your hospitality. I remember meeting the cohort from Working Together Jackson back in August. And let me just tell you something about Working Together Jackson. We met in August to do a tour of Spring Creek, Nehemiah. And I gave some remarks, and I think I flippantly said, if you ever need me, call me. They looked at me and said, be careful of what you say. And here we are today. Again, my name is David Brawley. I'm the pastor of the St. Paul Community Baptist Church in the East New York section of Brooklyn. I'm also the co-chair of East Brooklyn Congregations and Metro IAF. Working Together Jackson, I've come today to tell you a story. There's a backstory to an announcement that was made back in October 2018. NPR reported that there is the possibility that one block can make all the difference. The title of the article is The American Dream. One block can make all the difference. And this is about the work of Raj Chetty, who is an economics expert who created a tool. And this tool measures how income grows from generation to generation. And with this tool, he was able to determine on one particular block in Brownsville, Brooklyn, where the site of the Nehemiah homes really is and where it got started. He noted that on one side of the block, there was wealth, but on the other side of the block, there was not. On the one side of the block, he saw Nehemiah homes. On the other side, he did not. Where there were Nehemiah homes, the children of those homeowners had doubled the income of their parents. On the other side of the block, those children made the same salaries as their parents. They dug a little bit deeper, and when they did, they discovered this. They discovered that there was wealth on one side of the block and poverty on the other. The very difference was simply this: home ownership. As they began to calculate this impact, they discovered that there was wealth of $1.5 billion in a black and brown community. Now, normally this is when I say, when I'm preaching to my church folk don't know when to shout. But maybe you're not shouting because I need to tell you the backstory. The backstory is simply this. As I was brought to this place to share today, I had an opportunity to tour through some of Jackson and noted the housing situation and crisis here. And it brought to mind that East New York was Jackson 40 years ago. One block makes a difference, but one organization makes all the difference in the world. "40 years ago, leaders got together. They were angry about what they were experiencing and decided to organize. Leaders got together and began to organize institutions to join East Brooklyn congregations. But I want to tell you today that Nehemiah Housing was not the original goal of EBC. It was just simply to build power. And as we built power, we discovered the real solution for our community was Nehemiah Housing, the regeneration of an entire community. What do I mean by regenerating the entire community? Well, we discovered that oftentimes what happens when a community changes, the people that were there during the hard times had to leave. Y'all didn't hear what I said. But what we decided was everybody that was there during the difficult times ought to be there for the prosperity and the regeneration of the community. And let me say this, we never went to elected officials looking for an answer. We always went to elected officials with a solution. I want you to know today that that's where the power really is. The power and creativity and imagination is not really with elected officials, it's really with the people who are most affected, the people who have endured the crisis. And what we did is we organized. We decided that we were going to politicians, elected officials with an answer, and the answer was Nehemiah. One organization saved an entire community. Let me say that one more time. One institution saved an entire community. And I want to tell you today, if we could do it 40 years ago, you can do it today. Let me say that one more time. If we could do it 40 years ago, you can do it today. What does it take? What does it take? It's the slow work of democracy. What does it take? Intentionality. What does it take? It takes imagination. What does it take? The willingness to work and the willingness to fight for what you believe and for what you want. If we did it 40 years ago, you can do it today. Where does imagination come from? Imagination comes from people coming together, just like we're doing today, who ask the question, why not? Why not? Why not? Why can't we have affordable housing in our communities? Why not? Why can't we have services that bring dignity to our citizens in our community? Why not? When you have that kind of curiosity, and then when you have that kind of anger that causes you to want to fight for what you want, you can have what you desire. I want to say this, and then I'll take my seat. I'll take my seat. One organization made a difference, but I want to tell you the difference that it really made. The difference that it made was there were members of our congregation who were able to move from public housing in New York City to home ownership. Let me tell you the difference that it made. The difference that it made was there are members of our congregation who purchased homes for about $40,000. that are now worth $500,000. Let me just say this one more time. Church folk don't know when to shout. I said there are people in our community, in our church, who purchased a Nehemiah home in the very beginning of our program, and now their homes are worth $500,000. Can I tell you what that means? Can I tell you what that means? That means a family now has the wealth to use that and leverage it to send their children to college. It means poor folk who were once poor now have equity, and they're now able to pass that wealth down intergenerationally. Can I tell you what that means? It means the regeneration of an entire community. It means now we have better supermarkets. It means now we have better schools. It means now we've got better public safety. It means now we've got a better community. A community that was once called the murder capital of the state of New York is now the beloved community. And if we could do it 40 years ago, if we can do it then, you can do it now. Working together, Jackson, you can do it. You can do it. You can do it. Let me tell you how it starts. I'm closing. I'm not supposed to preach. That's not my assignment, but I just want to say, can I tell you how it starts? You got to build the momentum. And can I tell you, each speaker that came up and pledged some money, that was more momentum. $1,000, $3,000, $5,000, $8,000. You're building the momentum you need, because if we can do it then, you can do it now. You're gathered here today over 500 strong. If we can do it then, you can do it now. Working together, Jackson, there's no stopping you now. And I want to pledge on behalf of Metro IAF, you have a friend. You have a friend in Metro. You have a friend in East Brooklyn congregations. We're going to work with you to raise money, and our relationships are now your relationships. And whatever it takes, we're going to restore dignity to this community and build. Working together, Jackson, arise and build. Nobody can stop you now.
All right. That's all right. All right. Thank you again for your support of us, and thank you for being with us here today. Like East Brooklyn was 40 years ago, many of the neighborhoods in Jackson are blighted. And listen to this, only 47% of our residents own their own homes. We believe that Nehemiah, a rebuilding of an entire neighborhood, could bring dramatic change to Jackson. And at the Neighborhood Economics Conference tomorrow being held at Dooling Hall, Reverend Brawley will challenge our clergy to begin to build this strategy for Jackson. I encourage you all to be there for that. It's going to be amazing. In September of last year, our delegation of our leaders visited East Brooklyn and Baltimore. We were hosted by our sister organization there. And in Baltimore, we saw Turnaround Tuesday, a second chance jobs movement. The Kellogg Foundation, who we introduced earlier, is helping WTJ learn from our sister organization in Baltimore. And today we welcome the co-director of Turnaround Tuesday, Mr. Melvin Wilson, to bring brief greetings. Melvin will be presenting tomorrow at the Neighborhood Economics Conference. Welcome with me today, Mr. Melvin Wilson.
Thank you very much. Good evening, Working Together Jackson. Again, my name is Melvin Wilson, and I greet you from the great city of Baltimore, Maryland. I have the honor of serving as the co-director of a jobs movement called Turnaround Tuesday. Turnaround Tuesday was birthed out of Working Together Jackson's sister organization in Baltimore called BUILD, Baltimoreans United in Leadership Development. BUILD conducted in 2014 a listening campaign where they listened to over 3,000 people. And the number one issue that arose was jobs, and particularly for people that were coming out of prison. We started to conduct house meetings and individual meetings. We started organizing people and organizing money. And as a result, in 2015, Turnaround Tuesday was born. I fast forward to today. We have now helped over 1,550 people get livable wage jobs. 65% of these folks are ex-offenders. They're working at anchor institutions in Baltimore, such as Johns Hopkins Hospital, Johns Hopkins University, University of Maryland Medical Hospital, and major manufacturing companies. What we really hang our hat on is that over a 2-year period at our anchor institutions, we have a retention rate of over 75%. We began prior to the pandemic working with Jackson, working together Jackson, but as the pandemic hit, as the scripture says, the manifestation of a promise of God may be delayed, but his works tell us it is not denied. This past fall, a group of Working Together Jackson leaders came to Baltimore, spent several days with us, and we began to continue to engage on how we can move forward to bring Turnaround Tuesday to Jackson. I just want to close with a quick story. There was a young man who came to Turnaround Tuesday. He doesn't mind me telling his story. His name was William. He came to Turnaround Tuesday in January 2015. He had spent 15 years of his life incarcerated, over 20 years on drugs. He had been shot 4 times on 3 different occasions. He came to us and we were able to get him a job at Johns Hopkins. 3 days before he was supposed to start, he got a phone call and they told him, don't bother coming in. We found something in your background. But he knew we had the relationship. He called me, I made a phone call. He started his job the day he was supposed to start. A year into that job, he was their Employee of the Year. He started as a floor tech. He has since been promoted to a community health worker, and because of one of the benefits of Hopkins is a tuition benefit, 3 of his kids are now in college because they pay. Hopkins pays 50% tuition at any university or college that they want to go to. So where he was in prison at 21, his son is in college at 21. So thank you, Jackson. We look forward to working together to bring Turnaround Tuesday here, not just to change this city, but to change cities across America. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson. Now let me welcome the Reverend Dr. Leroy Barber, the Executive Director of our partner Neighborhood Economic. My brother, thank you. Come forth and have greetings with us today. Please welcome him to the stage.
Good afternoon. It's good to be here. Listening to all this, I'm ready to move to Jackson. Anybody got a space for me? All right. Neighborhood economics, what we do is we try to connect capital to neighborhoods and local communities that historically have not received it. And we have a conference going on starting tonight through Wednesday. There are some local folks who have been a big part of that. Working together has helped us and befriended us and walked us through. And we are honored to that, for that. Now, what I have found in coming to Jackson over the last 8 months and getting to know who you are, that what I have found in this state, that there's been a disservice over what happens in Jackson. Defining you by your struggles instead of the beauty that I just felt in this room. I met some of the most resilient people over the last 8 months that I have known in my lifetime. You have faced enormous challenges around race and culture and power and stayed strong. And I am honored to be a part and in relationship with Working Together. And we lead national cohorts, and so afterwards come and talk to me if there's some folks that are interested in figuring out how to get capital to your local community and leading some of that work. Come see us at a table afterwards. But I also, my wife and I run a little organization called the Voices Project, where we work with leaders of color around the country, and I want to join this momentum. So put the Voices Project on there for $1,000, and we thank you for your time.
All right, all right. Well, yeah, that definitely means he can move to Jackson now. That's how you get in right there, you know. It is our time of call to action. There is a reason we have you all in the room to hear all of the amazing things. It is not simply for you to say everybody's done a good job. It is a call of action to see how you too can be a part of that. There are two things that are going to happen. There's a community engagement campaign, house meetings and neighborhood walks, that you can sign up for house meetings and neighborhood walks to connect and engage and register and turn out voters. On your sheet underneath, there is a sign up for you to sign up and to be a part of what you've heard today. And if there are other questions, there are those that will be around the room to be able to answer those questions that you may have. But we encourage you to be a part of all of this that is going on. I now turn it back over to Ms. Tharp, who will start us with our next section.
Thank you, Bishop Hill. Okay, so now, it's 4:22. You've had a lot of information thrown at you today, and I want to thank you so much for your patience, for your dedication, and for being here and sticking with us. We are going to now take a pause. We're going to take a beat, and we're going to caucus amongst your within your institutions and discuss, what do you think about what you've heard here today? And do you want to participate in the community engagement campaign? So it's 4:22, I think maybe till 4:30. Is that okay? Okay. Ten minutes and go.
We'll be clear. Because they only have, what, how many more minutes left?
So we're asking for 2 training sessions.
I don't think the training sessions.
They're there. To commit to those 2 trainings. That we held, it's the same training session held 2 different times. So that's what we're asking your churches to commit to during the school.
Okay.
And then
So you
want me to come up and get the response?
after he does, he's got to clarify because he didn't hit that.
Yeah, you still do it.
All right, all right, all right. All right, are y'all ready? Are y'all ready to get a response now? We call everybody back to order. Call you out of your caucuses. Got to use the gavel. Got to use the gavel. We call this assembly back to order. Before we get our response, I want to make sure we clarify what we are asking you today. We're asking you to commit to a house meeting so that we may build our neighborhood walk. What our goal is to go door to door in our neighborhoods, taking back our neighborhoods for the people. And in order to do that, we need to be able to have house meetings to hear and to raise up new leaders out of our churches. None of this matters if we're not bringing new leaders along who will engage in our civic and our city as we raise them up. So on those dates that you see, June 8th and June 17th, is we ask you to commit to having a house meeting and coming to hear how you might take the next step in engaging and being part of this effort. I believe in it so much that if you notice, the house meetings are located at a very special place that I have, Greater Mount Bethel Church, 4125 Robinson Road. We will stand up, and we believe that there is new leadership coming, and we are excited to be part of that house meeting so that we might be leaders. And we ask that you join us, sign up to be here and to be there with us as we have house trainings so that we can go and begin our neighborhood walks and take back Jackson for the people. I want to invite Ms. Thorpe up one last time to have our response and to give the closing remarks and all. It has been a pleasure being here with you this evening.
Thank you, Bishop Hill. I hope everyone had an amazing caucus. And I now want to invite Bishop Brian Sage, Reverend Jimmy Edwards, and Dr. Berthrone to give their responses for today's call to action. Yes, let's give them a round.
Thank you. My name is Brian Sage. I'm the Bishop of the Episcopal Diocese of Mississippi. And Martin Luther King Jr. Once said that the most segregated hour in America is the hour from 11 to 12 on Sunday mornings. And I suspect if he said that today, it would still be. But it's in gatherings like these, when I look out today, that I see something different. And I see the promise of something different, and perhaps the promise and the hope of the beloved community. I look out and I see different races gathered together, differently abled people gathered together, and different creeds represented in this group. And it's exciting, and it's a sign to me of perhaps a spiritual renewal in Jackson, Mississippi. I just sat down with a couple of Episcopalians who, in spite of the fact that going door to door is really frightening for us, we all saw the need to do so. We all saw the need to be one with all of us together and to be the beloved community, and are ready to become invested, ready to be scared together, and ready to learn with everyone here how we can best do that for all of us and for this community at large. As I looked at the Working Together Jackson, working together to reclaim our community, I couldn't help but thinking that one of the things we will also be doing is working together to proclaim the beloved community. So thank you.
How's everybody doing? I said, how's everybody doing? Real good. Listen, I'm Pastor Edwards, pastor of Rosemount Baptist Church, and we're the loud church. Amen. We make a joyful noise. Rosemount, can you say something? All right. Listen, I have seen Nehemiah. I have walked the streets of Spring Creek and the new Nehemiah development. I've seen Turnaround Tuesdays in action in Baltimore over the last few months. We have met with neighborhood economic team, and we are beginning to develop a plan to secure funding for redevelopment lots that we have in Rosemount Human Services. And listen, I believe that we can build a similar strategy in Jackson also. Through Working Together Jackson, we can definitely rebuild it. I think we can. Anybody believe we can? No, that ain't good enough. Anybody believe we can? One more time. All right, that sounds better. Listen, we've been walking the community for the last 15 years. And listen, we've developed individuals who are starting their own organization in our community. And we're just excited about that. We have many lots that we want to build houses on. Amen. And then we're going to do about 40 individuals in our campaign. So we're just excited about what God is doing, and He's going to do some greater things. All right.
Assalamu alaikum. Eid Mubarak to those Muslims who have just completed their Ramadan, 30 days of fasting. So I bring greetings from Master Muhammad, led by Chief Imam Amin Abdul Rashid, Dr. Amin Abdul Rashid, and also wearing double hats as a part of the International Museum of Muslim Cultures, led by CEO and co-founder Sister Kolo Rashid and her husband Sababa Rashid. We want to certainly say that as the Muslims or so here in the community, that we're excited to be among the people of the book, by those individuals we are co-members of a society or ummah that believe in God. And so by virtue of that, we are excited to become a part of this. We already have links in place. We have organizations that are in structure through our subcommittees in DAWA outreach, such as the Beloved Community Project, such as the food pantry and other things that we are already doing in collaboration. We are going to put on our agenda, inshallah, on the 21st of May, our community meeting where we're going to put that agenda on. We're going to commit about 20 or more individuals toward that work. We'll move forward, inshallah, to be able to use the training to be able to help enrich us in manners so we can accelerate our outreach in the things that we are doing, inshallah. So we're excited, maybe a little low energy in the sense of the fast, but we're coming up. Our spirit is high. Our spirit is high, so we want to definitely send that. So to those that I represent there, we just state Assalamu alaikum for you all, and we look forward to being involved, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Thank you all for those inspiring responses. I think we're all ready to go out and get to work. Am I right? Yeah. Okay. So thank you. Before we send you out, I do have a few remarks. Just a reminder to please sign in with your information on that sheet. Leave it under your chair. Please don't take it with you. It won't do us any good. So please just leave it under your chair. We will collect them all afterwards. And make sure that you have signed up for one of those volunteer opportunities. I'm looking at you. I can see you right now. You're checking off those boxes. Thank you. Thank you. And if you want to contact us, if you have any questions or you just want to tell us, what we did great and what we could improve upon, if you have any comments, please visit us at our website. I think it's workingtogetherjackson.org. So please feel free to reach out. And before you leave, make sure you go into the expo hall, visit all of the vendors and businesses that are here. I think we have Neighborhood Economics is here for sure, Hope Credit Union. We have some food trucks out there here, so please check it all out. And now I want to... Okay, yeah, and I think that's also on your sheet. There's a box in there too. If you're interested in membership, please fill out that box. If you have questions about that, visit us at our website. If you're interested in, in donating and in giving and in supporting and taking ownership in this work, visit us at our website, workingtogetherjackson.org. And so now I want to invite everyone who is listed on the program needs to meet in the chapel afterwards for evaluation. And so now I am ready to invite Imam Amin Abdur Rashid up here to give us the closing prayer.
First of all, I'd like to share with you a little bit about Ramadan. We fast Ramadan based upon the lunar calendar every year, and it rotates. It's not, sometimes it's in summer. This time it happens to be in the springtime. Last year was in the springtime. But every 30 years, it changes, makes a full cycle. And the month of Ramadan, or the fasting, was required by all of the people of the book. So Muslims are no different from you. We're just a continuation of what was given, commanded by God from the beginning. So having said that, I'd like to offer this prayer. Let us bow our heads, please. I seek refuge in God from the accursed Satan. With God's name, the merciful benefactor, the merciful redeemer, all praise is for you, whose beneficence and mercy is the reason for the creation and our existence. O Master and sovereign who will judge us. Please guide Working Together Jackson on the straight path, the path of the righteous believers, whose shoulders we now stand on, not those who anger him and earn your wrath, nor those who have lost their way and those who go astray. Let every soul say, Amen.
We declare this convention adjourned.
Enjoyed you today, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Enjoyed that. This is the first chapter of the Quran called Al-Fatiha, which means the opening. I just transposed it to fit Working Together.
Well, no, thank you.